Hey guys, welcome to Badass Records podcast.
Local KC rock band Arson Class and TooMuchRock.com invite you to Sister Anne's Records and Coffee tomorrow, Friday, May 3rd, to celebrate the release of Junior, the new Arson Class single, exclusively on 7-inch vinyl, care of the Too Much Rock single series.
Get your own copy tomorrow and enjoy a live set from Arson Class.
That's tomorrow, Friday, May 3rd, at Sister Anne's Records and Coffee at 901 East 31st Street in downtown KC.
Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show.
Put her face up to the mic.
No.
Cool, man. Thanks for being here. Chris Kinsley. You want? Yeah, they're totally up to you. Yay if you want them.
We'll see if I like it.
No big deal if you don't. I don't know what night. This might wind up being episode 116 of Badass Records podcast. Hanging with Chris Kinsley of Arson Class. And appreciate you being here, sharing some of your Saturday with me. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if we drop this Thursday, May 2nd, then Friday, May 3rd, which would be tomorrow, you got a gig at Sister Anne's Records and Coffee.
Correct.
A May 18th gig at Centennial Skate Park in Lawrence.
Also correct.
June 1st, minibar in KC.
Correct.
June 19th, scene of the crash in Sioux City, Nebraska.
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
It is July 20th.
July 20th. Okay, I was off by a day. But of equal, if not greater importance, tomorrow, Friday, May 3rd, the new single by Arson Class, Junior, comes out as locally here in KC on 7-inch vinyl via the Too Much Rock single series. And the gig at Sister Anne's, which is 901 East 31st Street in KC, is not just a gig, but also to celebrate the release of that single. Is that right?
Yeah. I guess you would call it a release party. We're just doing a quick matinee, set right there. We'll play for maybe a half hour, 40 minutes maybe.
Nice.
So between 6 and 7. So people that are doing their first Friday stuff, they want to swing in and, check it out and still have the rest of their evening to go do anything else. So
Arson Class, Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp. And if you were to visit the Bandcamp, you could find self-titled 4-track EP from 2017, a 5-track EP called American Machine from 2018, Rock and Roll, a single from 2020, and My Girl, a track from last month.
yes.
Cool.
Both, My Girl is kind of a early kind of teaser release thing. It's going to be on our full length. That's
Cool.
Hopefully will be out, sooner rather than later. And then Rock and Roll is also going to be on that album also.
Expansion Plan
Expansion Plan.
is the official name of the full length, TBD.
Release date is not yet,
Okay.
but it's close.
Cool. So, Sid from Too Much Rock came and did episode number 105. So getting ready for that and then talking to him, I learned about the Too Much Rock single series. But at the time, I'm old, so my memory doesn't, hold up across weeks. But I walked away from that conversation thinking that maybe that series was dead. And I could be misremembering, but nevertheless, this is installment 11 for that. How did you guys cross paths, and how did Junior come to be the 11th installment?
So I think this was coming out in maybe toward the end of the pandemic era, but Sid had I've known him just from shows because the guy's at every single show.
Yeah, he's documenting
he gets,
photos, videos. He does a blog. He
runs. He's got his website. Everything's on there.
Yep.
And
TooMuchRock.com.
Yes, and so we've always seen him around there. And then I like people that are doing photos or doing any sort of write-ups, whether it's good or bad. I like to find them and read them and just see what somebody thinks. And then. After a while, one day he hit me up about, doing the single series, and we were all for it. And then I guess there were some circumstances in life came along, so that kind of put a pause on that. I think it'd been maybe close to 2 years since we had talked about doing the single series, and at that point, I think maybe some other people weren't sure if he was going to be doing it again.
Okay.
And then Junior was the track that we had decided to put on there, and it's actually one of our older songs. Like I wrote it with another band that eventually became Arson Class, and I just never got to put it on anything. So I had that ready for the single series, and then time went on, and we weren't sure if it was going to happen. And then we were thinking, okay, we'll throw an 11th track onto Expansion Plan. We'll put Junior on there.
Yeah.
And then once we had made that decision, then I hear back from Sid. It's like, hey, sorry for the delay. You still want to do it? It's like, yes, we would still like to do it. So that's how, that one landed on there.
So each of these installments of the single series has a 7-inch vinyl. 7-inch vinyl, same as 45.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not a big audiophile vinyl.
Me either.
I'm learning a lot just by trying to put one of these out.
But the artist, he always chooses the artist, and they're always local artists.
I think that's the deal.
And then so side A is an original cut by the artist, and then he picks a cover song for the artist to do for side B. And Nick Spacek from The Pitch wrote Spacek. Okay, he wrote a little thing, and it said something about you guys being initially unimpressed with the John Cougar. What's the name of the track?
American Dream.
American Dream. Right. But then you found a way to sort of make it your own. Is that?
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad. It didn't really hook me as something that I'm gonna want to listen to at a later date. It's like I grew up with some Springsteen, a little bit here and there, and later on I got more into Springsteen.
Oh, really? Okay.
I got a little more information, just listening to more stuff,
sure,
get smarter and doing deep dives into things like that. And then but the song in that era, John Cougar pre-Mellencamp, it's sound like to me it was like a Kmart Springsteen.
Fair, yeah.
And the song, it's not a bad song, but it's like he's telling a story through it, and it's got like its little melody thing, but there's the music doesn't really go anywhere. It's like you're already on the road as soon as the song starts. And
interesting. Okay.
You're just listening to him talk, kind of. Him telling the story, and then whatever. So, yeah, then just listen to it and like, what avenues can we take here? Which I felt like in my mind, if I wasn't doing Arson Class, if I was doing something else that was another style of music, I could have found a way to do it just as easy as the way I did. Like it seemed like it was a good little like a palette of just stuff that I'd hand to somebody learning music and be like, make this your own. Like, I think it would be hard.
Okay. Nice. So again, tomorrow, May 3rd, Sister Anne's coffee, and what's the other portion of their Sister Anne's Records and Coffee.
Have you been there?
Once, yeah. Yeah,
fantastic.
I was really impressed with the customer service on the coffee side, and then found myself pretty impressed with their vinyl inventory too.
Yeah, that is the best chai latte you will find in this area. Like, everything else tastes like water to me now.
Oh wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, I guess Jim, the main barista there, like, does everything, and I guess they get to blend local from somewhere around here, and
Cool.
It's like, you know, it has that perfect zing to it. It's
Nice.
like, I can't go to Starbucks, you know, so might as well just pour me a warm water or something.
Well, you guys Arson Class will be gigging there, celebrating the release of Junior as part of the Too Much Rock single series. Sid's stuff can be found at toomuchrock.com. He's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Blue Sky. Blue Sky is like brand new. Like I
had no idea what that was until I saw him mention it. You know, I guess it's like a
new social media platform.
New Twitter.
Have you peeked at it?
I had a peek at it.
I have not.
It looks like baby Twitter. So for people that want to get away from X, Twitter,
it's
or
always going to be
is.
Twitter. It's always going
to
be Sandstone.
Twitter. But yeah. So I guess to get away from all that.
Huh. Okay. So yeah. But you can find his podcast wherever you stream your music and your podcasts. So in going through that list of dates, the Sioux City one stood out. Are you from Nebraska? Are you from here, or where'd you grow up?
We're from Missouri.
Okay. And I know you have one brother in the band. You mentioned another.
Yeah, we have. Philip is our drummer. He is my baby brother, and then we have our older brother Bobby.
So the three boys.
3 boys.
Okay, a lot of pee on the bathroom floor.
A lot of pee on each other.
Yeah. How did your folks meet? Do you know how did they cross paths?
My dad was in the Air Force. He was stationed out at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, and that's where he met my mom.
Okay.
I guess the story, I believe what she told me was, I think she was serving drinks at a bar or something like that.
There you go.
Found her a nice skinny American, skinny at the time.
Right?
And said, there it is.
Yeah, nice. And then so the 5 of you are mostly in one home in Missouri?
Yeah, we grew up. My older brother, he was born in the Philippines.
Okay.
And then sometime between him and myself, they had moved back to the States. And we grew up on the other side of the river from Jefferson City, a little town called New Bloomfield.
Okay.
And I think at the time, I remember the population was like maybe 500. I think nowadays it might be 600.
Wow.
So,
wow. Yeah. Growth.
Yeah.
Okay. So were mom and dad, did they put on music to listen to in the home when you guys were little?
It wasn't like they listened to music and they love music, but it wasn't like you would walk into the home and be like, oh, these are music lovers,
Interesting. Sure.
You went over to my dad's stereo and saw that, he had 8 tracks and, some old vinyls, in there.
Okay.
And that was kind of whenever I started getting into, I guess, rock music or, just kind of whatever. It was like my first, I loved Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em. Like, I had to get that cassette when I was a kid.
Hell yeah.
It's like my dream is just like, man, I want to.
Did you ever try to do the hammer dance?
Yeah, I tried. I never got the pants, though.
Well, but don't buy the pants if you can't do the shuffle.
Right? Yeah.
I tried that like one. I was like, I'm not going to try that ever again, and I'm glad nobody was watching.
That's probably what kept me from the shuffle was never acquiring the parachute pants.
Okay.
So, but then,
fair.
Time went on, got into the Simpsons. I was into the Simpsons like everybody was at that time in the heyday, and they had like a soundtrack or something that came out and had like the Homer Simpson singing Born Under a Bad Sign and shit like that.
Nice.
And then eventually I got a little bit older, started getting into my dad's stuff and Deep Purple on 8-track and whatever else he had on 8-track, CCR and the Guess Who, stuff like that.
Cool.
And, he'd catch me digging around with this stuff, and he'd sit down. I was like, hey, show me how to use the 8-track. One of those big long receiver knobs. On there, you watch the needle just shoot back and forth. On the dial, and
nice. So when you. Is there an album that that wasn't in the home, that wasn't part of Dad's collection, that you, and not necessarily from your list, but first fell in love with, or maybe bought with your own money or borrowed from a buddy?
Oh.
Well, I guess maybe Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em might have been.
I mean, that would technically be like, it was either, I don't remember if that was the first thing that I got on my own, or if it was Too Legit to Quit.
Hey, okay.
But I mean, I don't even remember if I, had my own money to pay for it. If I was just like, Mom, buy me this, yeah. And then, I think my first collection of CDs came from my dad. He's, one of those badass old master mechanics. Can fix anything if you had a rubber hose and some duct tape.
Right.
And I think he was working on some feller's car. And I guess the guy had like some stuff he was trying to sell, and Dad asked me if I wanted look at any of these CDs or whatever, and he had ZZ Top Greatest Hits,
okay.
He had Tesla, Megadeth,
nice.
Stuff like that, like stuff I hadn't heard yet at the time, but the names were, I was getting to that point. It's like I knew I've heard the term Megadeth before,
right?
So I was like, yeah, I'll take them. So
I had Fritz Hutchison do an episode, and he had a Deep Purple record on his list, and when we got to that, he was like, and I was like, dude, Highway Star. He's like, Highway Star is the greatest song ever recorded. And I went to say the next thing, and he was like, Highway Star is the. It's like, okay.
Say it with me. Follow my lips.
So that's his what he lives by. I live by ZZ Top is the most underrated trio in American rock history. They slap. I love those guys.
Oh yeah. You get into their old stuff too, like Fandango.
Jaguayo and Tres Hombres.
Mm-hmm.
What about live music as a young person? Any early concerts or first concert stand out?
I was thinking about that not too long ago, because forever I thought my first concert, and I found some site, like, I guess you can go to some places and you can look up, dates of shows at certain venues, when they happen, so they kind of archive it like that. And what I thought was my first show was actually my second show. Okay. And that was, my second show was Gas Huffer and the Cramps at Mississippi Nights in St. Louis.
Oh, wow.
In 94. But then, which made what I thought was my second show, actually my first show was, I think it was the August before. I think that show was in November. And then the August prior to that was at the, I don't know what they call it now, or if it even still exists, but it was like the Riverport Amphitheater in St. Louis.
Maryland Heights?
I guess so.
Yeah.
It was Jawbox with Meat Puppets opening up for STP, Stone Temple Pilots.
Cool.
And I think from the start realized I didn't really like big amphitheater shows.
Oh,
like after
prefer the smaller.
Yeah, I mean, I probably did it to myself because like you'll see me with contacts out nowadays, but I'll wear glasses on the weekends. But I always had glasses on as a kid, so first time going to like this big place, to go see a big show. So I was like, man, I don't want to lose my glasses or break my glasses, like Christmas Story or whatever. Dad'll kill me. So I took my glasses off. I don't remember if I left them in the car or just had them in my pocket or something. So I was basically just running around like, I mean, I'm probably not as blind as I am now, but, a little bit blurry, but I still knew where my friends were at. So then we're out in the grass, and I'm just like, they got like the monitors like above the stage so you can see what's actually happening down on the stage and stuff like that. And it was okay. Jawbox, they kicked ass. And then to the point where Meat Puppets decided they were going to come out, instead of doing a Meat Puppet set, they decided to do an acoustic set. And we're basically getting booed off the stage.
Meat Puppets were?
Yeah. They came out and were just like, they weren't doing
Yeah.
what the Meat Puppets, what you would expect them to do.
Right.
They came out and just did like an unplugged set or whatever, and everybody was pissed about it. Jawbox tore it up, so then it's like,
Yeah.
Meat Puppets come out and just like, we're gonna sing you some, we're gonna give you like the lamest versions of our songs that we can come up with, and then STP came and did their thing.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Nice.
But the Cramps show,
dude,
that was the one that was
nice.
That was the eye opener right there.
So you are vocals and guitar for Arson Class. Your brother Phil's on drums, Mark on bass and backing vocals. Jen Keane gets a backing vocal credit for My Girl, right?
Yeah.
But what has your musicianship trajectory looked like? Did you start with guitar, or were you a piano lessons kind of kid, or school band?
I think there was a while where I got into Hendrix, and a friend of mine, he was a big Doors fan, like my best friend growing up in school. So we were kind of, my exposure to music in the town that I grew up in was extremely mainstream.
Sure.
So whatever the radio was giving you, I can go back home right now and I can find old friends that are still sitting in their parents' garage listening to the same crappy Godsmack record, drinking the same shitty beer, and it's a little depressing.
Bush latte.
Yeah. So it's like, needless to say, when I do go home, I just go home to see mom and dad.
Yeah.
But so to find anything cool is kind of luck of the draw. You'd either just have to make friends randomly with somebody, which is pretty much the route that happened with me, and then or a friend of mine knowing someone, and just kind of getting into things through there. And he got into just like the classics, stuff in the 60s, the Doors, and then Steppenwolf later on. But I became a big Hendrix fan, just that typical, I got into Hendrix, so I got to learn how to play guitar.
Okay.
And then, but I hadn't actually taken that step. I just knew I wanted to. And then the same friend, his mom got his guitar lessons, for a summer. Like, he stuck with it for maybe a couple, but I just kept going for that summer. And then
your friend's mom got both of you guitar lessons?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she got us both set up.
Nice.
And then, we started doing that. I stuck with it. He kind of, he learned some basic stuff, and he was like, I think he just figured maybe it wasn't his thing. And then, from there, I just kept playing guitar. And then when I was 14, I think it was like right after I turned 15, I got in my first band. My first practice with this band was like a garage punk band, and they wanted me to come be a second guitar player. And that same night, the bass player quit.
Oh, shit.
So it turns into...
Can't quit on the day of a gig?
Well, it was just practice. It was just practice. And it was funny, it's at his house. He decided he wanted to quit the band so he could sit upstairs with his girlfriend. And so the band just turns around to me and is like, you want to play bass? So then I became a bass player for like 12 years, and I got really into bass, and I still love playing bass. But, as years go by, I kind of just revert back to guitar after me and, my brothers, we all left for the military. And so I just kind of always had a guitar around. All 3 of you? All 3 of us.
Wow.
And then it wasn't until I just stuck with the guitar after I came back and everything. And then it wasn't until recently somebody, I forgot that I had one of my friend's bass guitars. Like, I'd just been dragging it around forever. I would stick it in a corner whenever I'd move, and I would just forget the fucking thing was, anywhere in the house. And then pulled it out one day, and, Jen, she's like, let's fix this thing up, because she was getting into, fixing guitars and stuff. So we took this, it's like a 94, like pre-court Squire Fender. Like, it's a P bass, but it was like before Squire started putting that big stamp on it. And, threw in new pickups, and I went and sat in with another band. Just like, man, I forgot how easy and fun this is, just to lay back and just be steady, not having to present the song necessarily and sing and worry about my strings breaking or my hand cramping and stuff like that. And so bass and guitar.
Okay. So that band, your first band, were
the Suburban Dialects.
The Suburban Dialects. All right, that's cool. That's kind of catchy.
I don't remember what it was from. I think it was a Minutemen song or something.
Okay, fair. And so from the Suburban Dialects to Arson Class, what's your band journey looked like?
Suburban Dialects, and then after that, kind of our guitar player in that band, he started getting really into the ska stuff. So shortly after, I kind of started messing around with that with him, doing just some, short existences with, other friends doing stuff like that. And I was also playing, I think, in a metal band at the time. And then it's probably when I was 18 or 19, me and my brother Phil first started playing in a band together.
Cool.
Like started our own band because he had been playing in like some little punk bands too.
Nice.
So we were both kind of doing like our own thing, learning our own chops. And then, we met this kid and that lived kind of close to us. You'd met him somewhere, and he was big into Reverend Horton Heat and Primus and stuff like that. So we were just like, let's mix that up. And
we're doing covers till y'all start buying shots.
Yeah,
that's the first thing the Reverend Horton Heat said when he approached the mic. When I saw him, I was like, sure as shit. Here comes the Jaeger.
Yeah. So we were just like, let's do something that's kind of like, what if you mix Primus and Reverend Horton Heat together? We called it the Rodeo Masters, and we recorded some stuff and never really put anything out. Like some of the stuff still it's around somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's funny to listen to. He's like, man, listen to that voice trying to find its door.
Right. Nice.
I'm just yelling at this microphone.
So Arson Class, then you said 7 or 8 years has been around.
Yeah, I think it was 2016.
Okay. Oh yeah. Was that the? Let's see here.
It would have been
2017 was that self-titled 4-track.
Yeah, so it would have been 2016.
2016. Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's a good lifespan. But nevertheless, Junior from what did we say? Expansion Plan is the to be determined full-length release coming sometime soon. Junior's definitely it's here. And Sister Anne's Records and Coffee celebrating the release tomorrow, May 3rd, down in on 31st Street. Right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes. Junior, that will be the only place that song exists, is on that single.
It won't be on Expansion.
No, we were going to put it on.
My bad.
Then Sid got
Sorry
back
about
with
that.
us.
Really appreciate you being here. Appreciate you sending me a list.
Appreciate you having.
And of late, I don't know if it's because of like where I am in number of episodes logged, but I've just been hitting a stride where lots and lots of firsts for me on people's lists, and when I get a list that has artists I've never listened to, or I'm sorry, artists that have not made anybody's list, as well as albums that it's exciting because is
Something
there
to check out.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect.
Yeah. So usually I like to roll through them in chronological order, just order of release. So if we do that, and I apologize, I think my printer was having a bad day, so the colors are really off on these. But Horse Bites, Dog Cries from DI, 1986.
Yes.
Second of 8 for them, 12 tracks, 31 minutes, punk rock out of Fullerton, California, with social distortion roots, and DI allegedly stood for drug ideology in the beginning, but now it apparently doesn't stand
Whatever
for
they
anything.
wanted.
Whatever, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you discover these guys, and why does Horse Bites earn a spot on your list?
So the first I'd heard of this group was the movie Suburbia.
Okay.
They have a song. It's probably their most popular song is Richard Hung Himself.
Oh.
So and
not on this.
Not on this one.
Right.
That's on Team Goon, I believe.
Okay.
Is Team Goon. And then so I got into that and just kind of dug more into DI. Team Goon is the first album I'd listened to, and I thought it was awesome. And this one, I don't know what it was about this one. Pervert Nurse, the way it kicks off the record is just what a cool song.
It is a
the
cool
way
song.
it is, and stick to your guns, living in the what's it? Is that? Yeah, Imminent War. Imminent War. They do like this. It's almost like a delay vocal kind of da 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 da, just like real fast,
Yep.
and it's just like. And I think for especially at this time when I was getting into like punk rock, I would listen to like the kind of like what everybody kind of gets into right off the bat with the real dirty stuff, like the early Black Flag, the early Misfits and Minor Threat. It's all like there's not a lot of like they aren't the best at what instrument they're playing, but they're making songs and you get the message and it's great. And then this band comes around to me, and it was like with No Effects was these guys are really great guitar players. The bass player is really good. The drummers are, and my thing with DI, most of their stuff and the way they put their songs together, you could drop the tune to D or something like that. A lot of this stuff would sound like a thrash metal band.
Oh.
And for me at that time, listening to this, I was also, working a lot with learning what I was doing with the guitar, and a lot of the stuff that I think learning styles of heavy metal music made me better at that time. Like I learned a lot more. So then whenever it came to this stuff, this is like heavy metal riffs with like Chuck Berry guitar solos, and it's just like this sounded great. Johnny's Got a Problem is still one of my favorite songs, and learn about the Reagan era through Casey Royer lyrics.
Right. Well, I am, it's fascinating to me to check out metal records when people have them on their list, but I'm never just hanging out on my own. I'm never putting on metal. Like it's just not my thing, and punk rock is not necessarily my thing either. But I do have sort of an indescribable brand of punk rock that I really enjoy. And I can't precisely put a finger on it, but opening note, I'm like, yep, this is how I like my punk rock to sound.
It's produced well.
It
they
is,
put a lot of effort
which is
into
so
it and
not
attention
punk.
to the song. Yeah,
It's like
it's,
so anti-punk of
all
me
the
to be
harmonies.
like, I want my punk rock clean.
You see these guys, especially like back then, they were doing whatever they could find to put in their system or whatever. And Casey Royer nowadays is just like, I think they still do pool parties and stuff out in California. Cool. Like I'll see that. I mean, I've been catching and noticing they've been kind of popping up a little bit more frequently now. But I think they had a lot of time off and they ran through a slew, probably a community's worth of guitar players and stuff like that. It's kind of become one of those things without Casey. As long as Casey Royer's there, it will always be DI until he's gone.
Well, I don't know why, but the sound, the production, everything is appealing and intriguing. Whereas oftentimes for me, maybe often isn't even fair, but occasionally, Punk Band X's record sounds like Punk Band Y's record, and I'm just like, this is so uninventive. Like, why would I get, like, good for you that you became an outfit and you recorded a record and you got it out. That's amazing for anybody. But like, why would I be interested in revisiting this? And, then I listen to a record like that and I'm like, yes. So, first time, never heard of DI. So never heard of them. First listen, obviously. And, I was pretty stoked. And from 86 in Fullerton, we go to New York in 94 with the Cramps. And I was excited for this because I've also never listened to the Cramps.
Oh, buddy.
But a number of musicians from different eras and different genres frequently reference the Cramps, and so my interest was piqued. This is Flame Job from 94, 6 of 8 for them, 15 tracks, 44 minutes. The artists credited with marrying punk rock and rockabilly. This was fantastic.
Blows your mind.
I was like, and it's not like, through the roof, heady or complex, but it's just like, in a Reverend Horton Heat kind of way, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about this record.
This record, as I'd mentioned before, what I thought was my first show was actually my second show. But honestly, I might as well just stick with that. And and this album, even now when I listen to it, and I think that's what it did to me when I first got this record. I'd heard Cramp stuff before I got to this album, but this one was just attitude. The whole attitude through the whole thing, Lux Interior, the way it's he's hard to explain, but you just you listen to him, and
it's like a welcome. It's a welcoming, intriguing attitude that, like, just keep it coming, please.
Yeah, keep it going. He's up there. If you ever see, well, I guess you're not gonna see him live anymore, but that first time seeing them at Mississippi Nights at the sweaty little club, historic club. I wish it was still around. There they are out there, and everybody's in high heels and makeup. He's on top of a PA speaker, deep throating the microphone. We were checking out, me and my buddy, the one that I took guitar lessons with. Yeah. I remember we were like checking out the bass player, just like, we couldn't really see her face because she had blonde hair like over her face. She had long legs, going into these heels. Flips the hair back, it's a dude, and we're just like, wow, look at that. So that was a new thing for us at the time. You don't say.
Yeah.
And and Poison Ivy always has that, like, everybody's pissing me off look, if you watch any of the videos, if you hadn't seen them before. But yeah, this record too, besides the attitude, like, anytime if I got a road trip, it's a fantastic road album. And especially, if you get down to this version of Route 66 on here, it's real low key. You kind of want to do a little, if you're into morphine, have some morphine.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you go to that Cramps show early in your concert going days, did you know some of their studio stuff going in, or was that all first exposure?
I had heard a friend of mine. His dad was a big music buff. Like, earlier before we were on here, you mentioned Zappa. That's where I first heard Zappa, was through this kid's dad, and extensive record collection and stuff. And that's where the Cramps, you'd start playing the Cramps, like, when you come over and hang out, or hear was it Goo Goo Muck, I think, and Human Fly. I think that was it. Cool. Anyway, so we'd heard that stuff, and I knew what the sound was, so I was into it, but I didn't know what I was getting into, going into that show.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, the my first listening experience for DI put a smile on my face, but first listening experience for the Cramps made me I got to hear some more of their shit.
Like, get some more. Get some more.
Listen to a different record, kind of, do I want to do a deep dive kind of thing?
Stay Sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. But nevertheless, very fun. And then from there we go to 1998 with Do or Die from Dropkick Murphys. Debut, first of 12, including one from last year for them. 16 tracks, 40 minutes, from New York down to Massachusetts. And we've managed to complete a list of firsts for the podcast, because no DI, no Cramps, no Dropkick Murphys through 100, however many episodes. Only know these guys from shipping up to Boston. Mm-hmm. But that's 8 years.
It's a different band.
Okay. Tell me more.
The Ken Casey, he's the constant in the band, and to what the band is now. Now it's, they kind of come off a little bit more just like your Irish, St. Paddy's party band, especially if you're, in the Northeast or whatever. But, at this time,
this is way heavier to me.
It was fun. It was so fun. It was, a lot of, what do you call them? Just that major chord structure, classic punk rock, and Mike McColgan, the singer, just the lyrics, everything they sang about, it's not different than what they do now necessarily. They kind of stick with that, pro union and, family stuff. They get into traditional things, and so it kind of like going from listening to something like DI and then later on getting into this would be like I've always been a Ramones fan.
Okay.
But it was always kind of, let's put it in the back while I'm listening to this crazy new thing that just came out. It was like, it was like, I don't know, I guess wanting to learn how to play an instrument or wanting to learn everything. So it was like, that was easy. It's 3 chords, and they play it really fast. DI is different,
Yeah.
And this kind of brought me back to that. My Navy days too. So this was, soundtrack.
Yeah.
For that.
The parallel, probably an easy one, but nevertheless, the parallel that I drew was, late 90s. I'm in college doing a weekly radio show, and around that time, Never Had to Knock on Wood by Mighty Mighty Boss Tones came out, and I was like, oh, this is catchy, like that's cool, but that doesn't sound like any of the Boss Tones shit that I've I've had pockets where I get into ska and rockabilly, and it's like, wow, it's totally different. When I put this on, I was like, oh wow,
yeah,
this is not shipping up to Boston.
No, not at all. In my personal, my kind of rock and roll story, like I always tell people, like whenever they get into it, especially with this album. So the band founded by, I think it was Mike McColgan, Ken Casey, and guitar player Rick Barton.
Okay.
Rick Barton's not with the band anymore. I think he did and wrote stuff for their first 2, maybe 3 records. And then in 2011 or 12, he had started touring with his own group called Continental that he had with his son.
Okay, fun.
So they came through Springfield when I lived down in Springfield, and we opened up for him with this group that I was in. I was in this kind of punkabilly kind of group, and he liked the way I played and took my number down. He said sometimes he likes to switch it up. And I was just like, yeah, sure, take it. Whatever. It's like, you can have whatever you want after this record. And, then one day he called and flew me out to Boston for a few days of rehearsals, and we did a U.S. tour, like, all around with this, the guy that, helped found the group at this time. He met
Cool.
Ken Casey. I'd hear all the stories about how they met, in AA meetings, and... he'd be on the phone with, Dickie from the Boss Tones.
Oh,
or,
funny.
Old Al Barr from, the singer for Murphys Today. And, hang out in Houston at the Street Dogs Complex, down there. And it was a trip. And one of my favorite songs was one that he wrote called The Torch, I think was on the next album. But,
okay.
He would start playing that live. So I was like, I get to play The Torch with the guy, touring around in his van with him and his kid and their terrier, Brutus. So
Nice.
it was cool.
You have mentioned a number of times days of service, and this is Navy.
I was in the Navy.
And Dad was too?
Dad was Air Force.
Air Force.
Our older brother's Army. Philip, my drummer, was in the Air Force. I was in the Navy.
Okay. I mean, you almost got everything covered there.
The ones that matter.
Shit.
Simple fire.
Right? So I was just having this conversation with my son this week. Navy is aircraft carriers, boats with planes on them, essentially, right? Like
we have
Top Gun?
aircraft carriers. We also have our own aviation squadrons. So... And I would tell anybody who's listening, not that I'm a recruiter or anything, but if you're dead set on, wanting to do stuff with airplanes, like Air Force is great. You get a lot of technical skills. My brother's, he was an engine mechanic working on KC-135s and, God knows what else. And I went into a squadron. So instead of being stationed, in North Dakota or someplace I don't really care about being, and just making that my day in and day out, to working on this airfield with this, I got to go live on the beach. It was like a 9 to 5 job. I worked in a squadron with they're just the regular F-18 class, F-18C Hornets at the time. Like they decommissioned them, and so I basically we'd hit the flat line. We'd be out there for 12 to 15 hour shifts. Sometimes I'd take a nap inside one of the exhaust, the engine exhaust, and just sit inside there while it was dark. Nobody's ever going to be around to bother me, and
right,
fiddle around the cockpits. Learn how to clean cannon plugs and
so
all this stuff.
So, but Navy is largely water based, right? Yeah. And then Air Force, you're working on planes, and are you flying planes also in the Air Force?
I guess the Air Force has their own pilots, and Navy also has their own pilots.
Okay.
And Top Gun is not Air Force.
No. And then Marines is boots on the ground soldiers, like combat.
But they also have squadrons, and they also have some of their like amphibious, like land, sea, aircraft, or like watercraft and stuff like that. Like they have some of their own ships.
And so, what is the Army then?
What is the Army?
As a kid, it's like Army covers all of them.
Well, they got helicopters and tanks,
but the Marines don't.
I see, and one of my little ribs we used to give the Marine guys, because sometimes we'd wind up having to share hangars, or they'd be on the ship with us.
Yeah.
We'd have to remind them that at the bottom of their paycheck, on their pay stub, it says Department of the Navy. They would not like that.
Mm.
But, it's like you'd think they'd be, they could consolidate a little.
Like, make it like cardinal directions, northeast, southwest.
Yes.
This, and it's that, and it's this, and it's that. But instead, it's all... But, Marines are Semper Fi. Like, they always... intentionally or otherwise come off as like we to the core of the human are the like toughest and most fearless.
Yes.
And we have the most dangerous thing that we set out to do.
I'm a killing machine.
We need the rest of those guys, but none of it exists without us, kind of. And it's like, fucking, really? You guys are into yourselves.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I bring up all that to say, fascinating that Dad serves and then all three of his sons serve. Did he ever try to encourage you all in that direction, or did it happen organically?
I think minor encouragement. Like, it was never, when you turn 18, you're either going to go to college or you're going to join the military. It wasn't like that. It was once, high school was coming to end, it was, we were getting, 17, 18, or 19, just kind of floating around, working shitty jobs. He had mentions like, you get a place to stay for free, get free food, you get
3
paid
squares.
free. Yeah, the 3 squares and, a steady paycheck.
Right.
Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
So that was probably the extent of the encouragement there. And then I think... I can't remember if it was my younger brother or my older brother, which one enlisted first. I think it might have been our older brother, but I think they both kind of enlisted kind of close together. I was the last one to go in. I think it might have just been like, y'all left me here by myself. There's nothing around town to do. Most of my friends are moving away. So it's like, and I don't want to just do what you guys are doing.
Right. Okay, so 2024, not to single out this year, but this time that we're living in, a lot of energy in my mind in the direction of what we should do, instead of like getting into a thing and discovering for ourselves based on interactions with other people. Instead of finding out what we should do that way, it's just sort of like, this is what we should. So where I'm going with this is, it sort of just out of nowhere became a thing that if you find yourself talking to somebody that has served, you thank them.
Yeah.
And interesting that that's your reaction to that. What's behind that?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I have a hard time. I've just my nature. I've never really learned how to accept compliments, like
Fair.
In a way, or thanks, and stuff. Especially if it's something I don't feel like it's. I'm not sure what you're thanking me for or whatever, but in that aspect of
being
like the military,
less of a pussy than me is what the global thing. Because I'm fucking not doing that shit. It's you. Have you seen it? There's guns.
Yeah, let your dumb ass go do that, idiot. But I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. Like I've done it, but usually I won't even think to thank somebody for their service unless it's somebody I know that's actually been in the shit, Like when I went into the Navy, it was a lot easier than I was expecting it was going to be. It wasn't like the, beards and, Popeye looking dudes that were running around on flight decks with, no boots on because they just woke up after, a 20-hour bender, things are a little bit different. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to
of course, and I don't.
either
Yeah.
side, but it's like, I mean, I appreciate it.
Sure.
When somebody has said that to me, it's like, thank you for your service. It's like, thank you back. I appreciate it. But,
Yeah.
me personally, I have a hard time. It's just like anybody telling me that, I'm a really good guitar player or something. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't think I am.
Yeah.
I just know what I know, and I just try to stick to that.
Yeah.
So
Now, 4 out of 4. Is it Kinsley? 4 out of 4. Is that your last name? Yeah. 4 out of 4 Kinsleys, males Kinsleys have served. Do your two brothers and your father, do you all share a similar opinion when it comes to that, or do you vary?
I don't. It's never really come up.
Okay.
So
Interesting. Well, I think it's remarkable and admirable, and I am grateful that, there are folks brave enough to do that, and so fond times to reflect upon for you.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. Definitely. You're welcome and thank you. By the way. But yeah, that's a time of life like it'll always be there. Even like one of my best friends, like I might talk to him once or twice a year. Like my best buddy, my Navy buddy.
Yeah.
It's like he's out in San Jose, so we don't really catch up that much. But when we
Right.
do, it's like it's a good hour-long phone call or something.
Cool.
And yeah, crazy shit.
What were your years?
01 to 04.
Okay. And safe to say that now versus your time, are there more females today than there were back then, do you think? Or is it... Did you see a lot of ladies?
Oh yeah, there were plenty of like female enlisted and female officers too. So
Okay.
It was it was already kind of never felt like it was just a sausage party,
Right.
Really at any time.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's probably more now.
Probably,
if I had to
yeah.
assume.
Yeah, right on. Well, that's great stuff, and thank you again for your list. It was a really fun trio of records to run through. Before we wrap, I like to do a series of goofy questions, and then we'll get you out of here.
Bring it on.
So the first is you get to have lunch with anyone, dead or alive. You're choosing who's going to be and why.
It'll be my brother, my little brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I already know what to expect. We're going to talk about some stuff. Might not talk about anything. We're just going to enjoy our time.
Cool.
Talk
I
about
love
something
that.
real. Talk about something serious. Who knows?
Nice. This is a true or false.
True or false?
It is okay and acceptable to wear the T-shirt of the band whose concert you're attending.
The concert that I am attending.
You're going to a Cramps show. Are you getting your Cramps T-shirt out of your drawer?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't do that. I mean, maybe just because I expect to see stuff like that at shows, but I don't do that. But I am a victim of wearing my own band shirt at my own show.
I got a podcast shirt of my own hanging, right? What are you rocking right now? What is that?
This is Nello's Awatuki is
Okay.
a pizzeria I used to work at when I lived in Phoenix for a minute.
Okay, we got a grater and a knife and a bottle and a pizza cutter and a rolling pin and a hand mixer, right?
Yeah, pepper. I think it's a
pepper grinder.
Pepper grinder.
Okay, cool. You're given the ability to visit your past self at any age. You're choosing. What age are you choosing, and what are you saying?
Yeah, it's one of those loaded. You think you want to go back, way back, but then it's like, well, what if it changes all this? I got a 20-year-old kid that, as much as he grinds my gears, I love him to death. Yeah.
Nice.
So I would say I would go back when I was 31. So 2011, and I would tell myself, just walk home from the bar. Because that night I got a DUI.
Good times.
Yeah, but the thing was, I live like 2 blocks away from where I was. I could have just walked back.
2 blocks. Golly.
But I think it was BS. The cop said I didn't use my blinker, and that was an excuse for pulling me over. I don't care what shape I'm in. I am notorious for using my blinker.
Yeah.
Whatever.
One of my favorite bumper sticker segues across my years on this planet, in the 70s and 80s was visualize world peace.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point in the early 90s, somebody made one, visualize world peas, and then eventually it evolves to visualize using your turn signal. I love that.
Visualize.
Yeah. So let's pretend everybody has a personal and a professional bucket list. You're given all the necessary resources to hammer out your number one on your personal and your professional. What are they?
Personal, maybe personal and a professional thing.
Yeah, oftentimes the same. Yeah.
Me and my lady, we want to run a campground.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
tents and RVs, both?
I'm not big on the RV parks. It's just too much. We look into this stuff and it's just like, that just looks like it's more of a hassle than we want to deal with. Like, it'd be great to have all the money in the world, but we just want to be able to chill out, relax, and not stress. I want to be in a place where I can just disappear if I need to disappear. It's the way things are now. You can't get away from anybody.
Right.
And I spend most of my weekends now. It's like, probably the reason I stay in a band, at this point, I'm going to be 45 at the end of the year. And I've already given myself, I'm going to give it the good push for another 5, maybe 10. And then I'll go into old man with a guitar mode. But
I love that you have that vision. That's great.
So.
And what's your birthday?
December 19th.
I'm the 16th.
Oh.
I'll be 50 this year. So.
Sags in the house.
Sags.
And so. Yeah, I don't remember what I was talking about.
Give it a good push for 5 or 10 years.
Give that a good push, and that's really at this point is what it's like an excuse for me to get out of the house and have to be social and see some old friends. Like, if I don't have those dates booked on a calendar, it's like right now, my weekends, as soon as I get off work on Friday, it's like, just get to the house. Just get home. Just get home. Just get home. I just want to be on my couch. I want to sit in the corner and craft or just take a nap,
Noodle.
Walk the dog. I don't even do that.
No?
I leave my guitar at my brother's, where we practice. Usually I'll bring it home whenever I'm expecting, if I need to work on something.
Sure.
Or I need to change strings. But usually, and that's...
How far away do you guys live from each other?
20 minutes or so, 25 minutes.
Okay.
But that's probably I probably should bring it home more often. Because I think my issue most of the time is I know all the stuff. It's more of a fatigue, not you got to get those reps in, stay sturdy. We'll play.
Yeah, you don't the scale of joy and chore.
Yeah,
you never
exactly.
want it to go. Ugh,
there it is.
Fuck.
Mm-hmm. So
what have I done? I gotta get, you know.
But then we get a show and I get amped up for it, and then I'm just like, man, it's been 10 minutes, I'm worn out. My arm hurts.
Right. Please complete this for me. The world would immediately become a better place in which to live if only...
If people would chill the fuck out. People
Amen.
just chill out. Just be nice.
Yeah.
You know, if people would take more opportunities when the opportunities come, not put yourself out, but there are times when people have a chance to just be a little selfless. You know,
just a little.
Just a little bit.
From
And I'm not
everybody.
saying, you know, hand that guy that's always on that corner, you know, change every time you drive by, you know, but just, you know, little things. I see somebody's dog taking off. Like, the first thing I don't want to do is chase a dog, but I also don't want a dog to get, you know, I love dogs.
Yeah.
You know, I love animals.
Yeah.
I love all the creatures.
Yeah.
But, you know, just little things, you know, they come up, you know, whether it's, you know, donating to a good cause or,
Sure.
you know, just checking on a friend, stuff
Smiling.
like that. You know, it's like
Saying hello.
smiling, saying hello, holding a door open.
Yep.
My gosh.
Every once in a great while, I feel like I gotta pull over if somebody's pulled over, like dealing with vehicle issues.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it every time, but every once in a great while, I've got to. Hey man, like, you good? You need a jump? What? Everything? You got this?
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like that goes a long way to that person, you know, and maybe they turn and do something nice.
Yeah. I think selfishness and greed it's everywhere.
Yeah, I
it's
get it.
in everything. It's in music. I hear it in music. My kid will listen to something just like, I mean, I get being into rhythms, but it's like, do you know what they're singing about? Like, I've just been like 5 minutes of listening to somebody sing about their money and, you know, their, you know, parts, you know, and I'm just like, I don't really, unless it's something that's supposed to be funny, I don't really dig into it.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, that's cool, you know, whatever, you know, that's going to be their thing. And I guess a lot of cases it makes a shitload of money, you know, but you know, I go to a gas station, I hold the door open for somebody, and they grab the other door and open it and just walk right on past like I wasn't holding the door open for them. It's so weird. It's like almost like try it sometime. Whenever you go to a gas station, when you're doing that, you see somebody come in and whatever, you know, hold the door open. Eventually it'll happen.
I do it all the time at Quick Trip, and most of the time I get a thank you.
I mean, sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't get recognized, but I don't know how many times it's happened. I'll hold the door open. They'll just grab the other door like the other side is already being held open and just like walk past.
One of
not a big deal.
Many reasons why I am a gas station snob. I will, if I can help it, only go to Quick Trip.
Really?
Yeah, I just like the way that place operates. And,
they're snappy.
Yeah, and I feel I don't know anything about gas. I'm like, their gas is scientifically, you know, but just for this,
it tastes funny.
Just for the sake of the effort that they put into for cleanliness and efficiency and customer service, I just feel like I'll just give you. This will be where I put that money of mine when I need to get gas and snacks and whatever else. And when I go, it never fails. When I can see it now, there's one right over there where if I every time I go, if I have to real quick, it doesn't matter time of day. I'm like, I feel a little uneasy about going here. And then the door is always an awkward, it's just like, oh, God.
Do I wait?
Yeah. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much. Arson Class, Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp. Tomorrow, Friday, May 3rd at Sister Anne's Records and Coffee down on 31st Street to celebrate the release of Junior, the 11th installment of the Too Much Rock singles series. You can learn more about that and everything that Sid does at toomuchrock.com. What did you hope that we would cover that we have not?
I will plug.
Please.
I'm gonna plug Sid right in his ass. Just kidding. Too Much Rock.
Yeah.
What he's done is, being asked to do it. It's a fault, like the reason he does it, what he does it for. He's losing money.
Yep.
And the point is, let's get vinyl. Let's get some vinyl on shelves, and let's make it a special thing. So we're all about it, and we're
supporting local music.
Yeah, you're supporting local music.
Supporting the music industry, because
you're supporting their vinyl record shops.
If somebody goes into Sister Anne's, I'm assuming copies of Junior will be available for purchase there.
They will be available for purchase at Sister Anne's, Planet Queen and Independence, Love Garden in Lawrence, Josie's Records, FM on the North Side, Mills, Records with Merit, and...
Got What You Like? Are they part of the mix?
Not yet. They're on the list, so
okay.
I'll get around to them.
But I mean, every time somebody buys one of these, you guys get a little bit, and the record store gets a little bit. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Whenever we go into the stores.
Yeah, cool. So I mean, it's great. As he says in his little deal, everybody wins.
And I will say that the record shops have been, like, the owners I talk to, like, dealing with, like, getting these on shelves. I just want to get them on shelves. Like, the money with this band has never been, like, we're not going on U.S. tours. Right. We're not struggling, so.
Arson Class is not 100% funding the campground that you guys will buy.
I know, right? But we just, and the idea with, like, me and the cat, it's like, we'll just like, are you sure? And it's like, yes, because this helps you. Bands come and go, so record stores, I give you, a 60-40 cut, you take the big half.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So.
TooMuchRock.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Blue Sky for Sid and all of his efforts. And then again, you can catch me chatting with him in episode 105 of Badass Records Podcast. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It was nice meeting you, and talk to you soon.
Absolutely.